Okay, I'm going to now show you how to do a pre-op check on a V300, V500. The other video showed the expiratory valve. So we're going to connect our ventilator to the mains and oxygen and air, which is at the back. On the V300, V500, at the front here is the on-off switch, and here we have the AC mains light and the battery status light. However, sometimes if this light isn't turned on here, then there is a hard switch at the side that will turn the ventilator completely off. So just be aware, you need to have this little light here on. I'm going to turn the ventilator on, and it does a self-check. Meanwhile, I'm going to set up with my tubing. And it's a standard basic breathing circuit, dual-limbed. This is the expiratory port and inspiratory port. And it doesn't actually matter which way round the tubing goes. And then my wire piece, which will go to my patient. So when it's first turned on, you get a standby screen. I can now select whether it's the current patient or a new patient. I'm going to select new adult and confirm. On this ventilator, every time you want to do anything, you have to select and confirm with the control knob. If, however, it hasn't been turned off, this is the screen that you will see. It will be sitting turned on in standby. Okay, if it is in standby, then you'd have to tell it you want a new adult from this screen. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use these tabs here to go across and perform my device check and just check that it's set up correctly. So the first part starts standby, new adult. If I now go to tube NIV, I can either place my ventilator in a tube mode or NIV mode. To change between them, you just highlight and confirm. Highlight and confirm. The next one along is my breathing circuit humidifier. I need to make sure that this is on a breathing circuit basic. If it isn't, you can use the arrow button here and use the control knob to scroll until you get to basic circuit, breathing circuit basic. It says. Oh, just because I'm not changing it. And then the next one is the system check, which is the pre-op check on this. Now I can see some tabs down the side. The first one says device check. If I press that, it takes me to the device check page, and I have a start button here, which I click on and confirm. And the device check will actually run through all of the parts. The operator just needs to follow the prompts on the screen and respond appropriately. First one is, can you hear the alarm? Yes. Second one is my breathing circuit. Is it correctly connected? Yes. Do I have a humidifier? We don't have a humidifier, we're using HMEs, but if it's not used, I say yes. And now it's preparing for calibration. Is the expiratory flow sensor connected correctly? Under this flap, if the flap is present, yes it is. So I say yes. Now it says test lung connected to the breathing circuit. We use these test lungs, the Draeger test lungs. So I'm going to connect that to the end of the circuit and say yes. Do you want to calibrate the internal gas supply sensors? There is a note here that it can take up to 3 minutes, but we are doing it between patients. Yes. As you can see, whilst it's performing this test, every time a test is performed and passed, we have a green filled circle to say that that test is complete. Okay, it says the device check is finished, and to proceed to the breathing circuit check, touch yes. I recommend that we do this because it's actually checking the circuit that has been put onto the ventilator. So we say yes, and then it says breathing circuit check, start. There's also a proviso here to say make sure no patient is connected. So I'm going to press start, confirm. This breathing circuit check is checking for the leakage and compliance and resistance. It's now asking me to seal the port, which you can do with your hand if you can't find a bung. It's just measuring the leakage here. The acceptable leakage is 300 mils per minute at a pressure of 60 centimetres of water. Now it's checking the compliance and resistance. Now it's asking me to open the connection port. Press OK. And it says breathing circuit check finished. If I now go back to start standby, I can see on the screen very clearly that my device check is green, my breathing circuit check is green. Now we can attach to our patient using our HME and start ventilation, highlight and confirm, and then carry on to use your ventilator as per normal. Just one note, if a technician has set up the ventilator, then the pre-use check should have been done. It will probably have tubing on it or a note to say that it has been set up by a technician. So if you see those, then you don't have to do that pre-op check.